let's kind of take it back to the start of it all, because I remember when there was chat of obviously it kind of happening, and there was a few different people talking about trying to make an Army's team, and like we all know, being from North Berwick, like you hear that chat all the time, and it happens for half a season and it folds. So I don't know who kind of wants to take it away from the very beginning, really, but we'll just chat about kind of how you've got it going. I don't know who wants to do that first.
Yeah, well, the first bit I remember was balls deep in lockdown, when we're all doing those wee quizzes, the wee Zoom quizzes where you're not seen boys in ages, and all the boys are home. I think it was...
Everyone's got a shocking barn at
everyone's looking terrible. It was like one of those nights where it's like everyone wear a football strip or a cap or something, and it just like... And then obviously it was different, like Quizmaster every week, and it got to the point where it was like questions about like high school football, like who did this, who did that, and obviously everyone's reeking, so that just leads on to like why have we not got a team? I think it was at the point where like me, Gaz and Nell, we'd moved back from Australia, boys had been dotted all about the place. Hamish, who were you playing for? Like Huntington, Dunbar?
Nah, I was thinking about getting back into football.
Like James is at Dunbar, like boys are all over the place, so like gets to the point where like, how hard can it actually be? And drunk chat, everyone's like, we'll do it, absolutely. And then, you know, a few months goes by, it's just like boys in the chat, it's never going to happen, never going to be able to do it. It's just like it's a pipe dream type thing, starting your own football team. And then I think we tried in the June, did we, me and you?
Yeah, I mean, furlough was a bit of a saviour for the NB Armies, because we were the only two that were actually on furlough.
Yeah, brilliant.
So
right.
had nothing better to do.
Bring them back.
Yeah, so we were like, why don't we put in an amateur team? So it was that year before the year that we're in at the moment. We thought, we'll just try, and we tried to scramble an invite in, but because of COVID we weren't playing any amateur football, so it gave us a year to then, now that we'd actually committed to it, it was like that gives us a year to actually build a proper team. Class.
And then so where does it go from, like obviously like the chat and stuff, and then like, because I think what a lot of people won't realise, which we talked about a little bit at the flat before we came here, right? And obviously I've come from coaching in America, so like I kind of understand it. Like I didn't have to do a lot of that stuff, because in America you get a lot of parents that volunteer to do that, right? But like, where does it start? Because there's so much to do. Like you were talking about, like getting strips together, like getting the players together. Like how does that even start?
At the very, very, very start, there wasn't even a club that we could have taken over.
Right.
So to the extent of we had to make a badge just to set up the club. Right. The badge was all created. The club was created. We didn't know where we were going to play. And there was all type of things. We weren't even training. We were just kind of going, we'll turn up at Sight Hill and just see how many people.
The grass pitch there, littered with needles and fucking dog shite everywhere. First training session, and ball gets scranned by a dog.
I've still got that ball. We're going to hang it in the museum.
We get that framed.
The only amateur team who's every squad full is like Stevenson College. It's like
Bob, random lad on Twitter replying like, that's no North Berwick.
There was one particular dark week in pre-season where we only had 4 guys turn up. It was me, Hamish, Nell, my flatmate, and Aaron. There was just 4 of us, and the Neds were the grass had just been cut, and the Neds were firing in from the woods and just setting fire to the grass.
Really?
Sums up the Armies, man.
No way.
In terms of like where it came on, there was a lot of conversations on the golf course in terms of like get this going, and like I'm the eternal pessimist with everything. I'm like, it's never going to work. I kept saying that to Jack, and I was like, everyone's yes man and you, everyone's yes man and you. But probably to be fair to Jack, on the admin front, he's took the real lead on it. And I've got things in
unbelievable shift.
Speaking with the Colts, speaking with the Huff and Puffins, and I suppose figuring out what the league body do, like who do we need to go to, what sort of people we need to speak to, what sort of stuff do we need to get in detail. And then I think you kind of got in touch with Leafa after you'd ticked off enough of the boxes to go, right, we've got something here.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, the timeline actually saved us a bit, because we had a bit of time to build in for it, and we had that year. And I was like, right, okay, we'll sort the pitch. And it just became one of those things, we'll do that. And then it actually came to starting the season, and it was like, oh my God, we don't even have a home pitch. We don't have anything. We were sending Hamish off to like the new pitch at the new build at North Berwick, like, go and see if we can play there, go and see if we can play here. And just in the end,
fucking 7-a-side pitch.
It was ridiculous. It was just anywhere will do. So in the end, it worked out for us. We were able to get the grass pitch at the Rec. It worked out really well in our favour. But
good.
Yeah, I was going to say, it was just getting the squad together.
Squad was the biggest issue.
The biggest thing. I think obviously like league, like we did the application form. I mean, relatively straightforward actually in the end.
Yeah.
I guess like after we put some thought into it and like committed boys, like we got like a sort of core group of like the lads like Matty, for example, from home, like boys you hadn't seen in a while, but you knew you'd be so right up for it. And then once we did all that was all right. But then obviously it was getting the squad together, getting funding was the big point, because at the start, because you don't start an Army's team, like pay for the league fees and like the insurance and all that up front, renting pitches and stuff were just, out of nowhere.
Yeah, we had no idea that it was going to cost us to actually set up the club, and it was only once we got the application in and it was all of a sudden we're hit with like £400-500 worth of bills. And we didn't have any funding, so I was just taking the hit. I was like, I'm sure I'll get this money back from the boys at some stage.
Yeah.
I was still so pessimistic of it even after they paid the league fees.
Yeah.
I was with James.
Yep.
I just got back into football. I was training in with Dunbar with James.
James Harley.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, and Jack and Finlay had phoned me one night whilst I was in my bed.
Oh,
like,
brilliant.
Yeah,
so good.
Yeah. It's like they announced it in our group chat with me holding up a picture of a Domino's t-shirt.
Do you know what I mean? You wanted to get a bit of like momentum going. Get
Of course, you need the momentum. Yeah,
it's like me and Jack talking about it. Like, not a very inspiring signing, me. Let's be honest. So you needed a wee marquee boy to come in there. So we gave him a call, and we're like, "Shoot, if we offer him the manager's role, he's gonna play as well, isn't he? Surely, straight in there." You were delighted.
Yeah, I was delighted, but it was like, not that I told them. I was like, it's never gonna happen.
Yeah.
I went to pre-season with James. Get the lift. He was like, what on earth is that all about? It's never gonna happen. I was like,
Yeah.
don't stress about that. But then, like once we'd figured out like there's a good group of lads who want to get in on this. Finlay sort of took about the social side of it, got sponsorship sorted on kits and like that sort of thing. Like, I suppose that's where there's way more to it. Like when you scratch beneath the surface, you're like,
way more.
Kit's easy, but no, you need to find a supplier. You need
It's
to
like £800.
Yeah.
We need to find someone. We need to find a sort of core sponsor, which Finlay was able to do as well. Which without that sort of stuff, like the Amis wouldn't be where it is.
Of course.
Yeah.
Did it at any point, like, because like you're all saying you didn't know that's what it would take, like was there any point that it kind of threw you off a bit, or was it like once you'd kind of signed up for the league, was it like, now we need to, like, we're going to keep going with this?
I was just going to say, you take it, but I think after we committed, we were just, because you get a buzz, don't you?
Yeah.
We were just so
I was
excited.
about to say, once we had
never
committed
back
to it.
after that.
And the best thing about it was we were going about and folk had got wind of the fact we were doing it. So everywhere we were going, any golf thing, anything, we walked down the street and boys are coming like, have you started up the NB Amis? And we're like, what the hell's going on? So the buzz that you're getting off it, we were just full of positivity. So it never felt like we weren't going to do it. Hamish may had a bit more negative outlook on it, but it never felt
pessimist.
like the pessimist. It never felt like we were going to fail with it until the season actually started. It was like, oof.
Yeah.
Because we managed to get a bit of funding from a trust in North Berwick, which was a big thing. We had to write like an application form and sort of like
Frank Pratt.
Cheers, man. Frank the Tank.
Cheers, Frankie. Frank the Tank.
Sorting that one out with putting us in touch with folks. So we had to write a re-application form and then like list out what we needed the money for. So that was a struggle. Do you remember that phone call?
Yeah.
Being like, well, what are we gonna?
Why do we need the money?
Why do we need the money? But then it was like, then you actually start listing it and you're like, oh, we need actually quite a lot for that. And then we need quite a lot for that. And you're like, referee costs weekly, training costs, like
even
pitches. Equipment,
but
balls.
even on
How many balls do we lose down the Glen?
Not guilty
every
on that
game.
one.
But like even early doors
Get it out.
training, we went to Site Hill because it was free.
Yeah.
And it was the easiest place for most of the guys to get to. But very quickly, most of the guys switched off because we didn't have nets. Four balls. We had little bits here and there, and it was kind of like you already saw the numbers dwindling. And me again, like alarm bells were going off. Like, this is not good.
Yeah.
But I suppose that's where that funding was of massive help to us.
Huge.
Managing to get an Astro.
It just made it feel a little bit more like
professional.
Something tangible here. Yeah.
It's just, I mean, sorry, Jack.
So it just gave us a cushion because we didn't have any funding at all. So we were kind of funding it off our own back. You were paying for stuff, I was paying for stuff. And once we got that funding, it was like, Pratt was leading the socials.
I was on the Twitter every night.
But once we got the funding, there was a bit of security there. So it was like, right, we could actually invest in training. We can invest in some equipment and get like 10 balls rather than 2 balls that we've found in a dog spit in one of them. So it was a massive deal actually getting that funding in.
And you don't realise like that type of stuff. So obviously for me on this as well, it's like now having the studio for this, right? It's the same kind of concept. It's like, right, you go from doing the living room and it's cool, and then all of a sudden you kind of like use a bit of a studio and all type of stuff like that, and it just helps out. So it just looks better, right? You have the nets, you have the balls, you have the bibs, you have the cones, and like you say, it keeps people going more.
Training numbers
massively.
doubled once we moved to the Ash.
Yeah, exactly.
Not trebled.
Aesthetically more pleasing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Having the nets.
Matthew, you all right over there, audio man? All right, okay, so you're just having a wee look at it,
I was going to say, I was just going to say the next part was like the squad. I think Hamish digged out
that's where I was going to go. Well brought up.
Yeah,
great transition.
Easy. How well do we work here?
Do you want to take this job? Yeah, do you want to take my job?
It's just like Hamish found a great message the other day. Was it saying at one point?
We'll cap the squad at 17. We can't have any more players involved in that.
17.
And honestly, mate, see when we had that.
Yeah.
Three of our squad were training for East London at the time.
Yeah.
And the boys were still expecting to be training for us. And it was like, quite a lot of what I didn't like. I was like, I don't like half these boys.
Yeah. There you go.
17's pretty slim at the minute.
Nobody
still
come at
play
me,
for
I'm
us,
just
don't
the
they?
host.
11 players, you get 5 subs, 16. We're like, we'll just cut one each week. And we talked about this a little bit in the gaff. But Matty, do you want to guess since the league season started, how many players we've played and trialists and signed up?
Just in the season, not
just
pre-season.
Not pre-season, just full season.
How many players
Have made an appearance with Amis.
That's what I
He
guessed.
said 30. Yeah.
Yeah. How many?
Well, 49.
49.
49 different players.
You've got what? You've gone from 17 to 49, but that's because see in that core 17. Now we can say this, like we were relying on Aaron Darry and Danny Darry consistently for cracking lads.
Yeah.
Another 5 minutes between them.
That.
Great moment in pre-season. We were playing against Londonderry.
Yeah.
And Danny's turned up late to the game, and he always gives me grief not for giving Aaron game time.
Yeah.
Aaron stood on the side of the pitch. He's like, Hamish, how many times did I tell you get Aaron off? He's already been on and off, Danny. It lasted 3 minutes. It's like that was a good learn for us quickly. Like it's all fine and well having mates, and we want our mates involved, but we also need lads who we know. Like I was about to say, like Matty, but he's also a mate. So that's harsh on Matty.
Yeah.
But you also need lads who you know are going to commit to it.
Of course.
That's we really quickly learned that. Like, do you know what? Just try and get as many folk in as we can.
That's been the biggest learning curve.
Yeah.
Taken to next season, I guess.
Yeah.
Do you think? Trying to make sure we have a good full squad of people where we're not scratching our hair pre-Christmas.
I think we've had about 10 players, generally 10 players that have played more than 50% of the games this season.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
So if you've played more than 1 and 2, you're in our real top batch of
consistent.
performers. And we naively thought everyone would be there 100% of the time.
Yeah, quite a lot
unless
of
you've
those
got
players weren't necessarily the people who were there.
That's true.
Gary, who's been a massive guy within the Armies, no way anyone
Huge.
expected him.
Divock Origi.
I love
even
that.
my brother Cammy, like he was in Glasgow when we started the Armies. Like he wasn't part of the Armies.
Oh, yeah.
Like Jack, he was in a sling when we first started.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck. So you were, man.
I broke my wrist.
Yeah.
Talk about a buzz. We had all that buzz going into it, and we played our first pre-season game. And in the morning of that first pre-season game, I went to the doctors. I was like, I've got a bit of an issue with my wrist.
Yeah.
Went to the doctors, broke my wrist.
Shit.
And they're like, you've got to go in for an operation in like 2 days. So I was like, right, I'll play that game because I had a bit of a buzz about it. And then went off 3 months out. So such a downer after building up everything that we'd had. One game. And that was it, crushed. But that blew us at centre half as well.
I forgot about that.
Game 1, we came into it, the 3-man board, we're all out, injured.
Yeah.
Not that I made much difference, to be fair.
I think like that was like when you guys started up. For me, just like from the history of the Amis, which I've actually never played for the Amis team. I just did North Berwick. I know. Watch his face.
TBC.
TBC. I just obviously did North Berwick and went away to America. But like that was always the test. Was we talked about a little bit in the flat, but it was the winter. Like when you get the darker nights, it's dark at 4. Folk have had work. It's pissing rain. It's freezing cold. That's where it typically would always fall apart. And then, like anything, right? Like especially when you're out of it for a couple of months, it's hard to get you back into it, right? So that's where I think like as soon as you survive the winter, on the outside in, I was like, right, you're good. Like as soon as you survive that, you're fine as long as you've not folded or done whatever.